Let's talk about trans issues. And there was some great news for women and girls, particularly those involved in high-level sport at the end of last week, as World Athletics announced a ban for transgender women, i.e. biological males, from competing in the female category at international athletics events if they've gone through male puberty. But then we've seen, well, things getting a little bit further wrong when it comes to the other side of the planet, and indeed Hyde Park Corner in London, when it comes to women speaking up for women's and girls' rights. Let's discuss all of this with Sharron Davies MBE, Olympic medalist swimmer, of course. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Julia. Nice to see you.
Lovely to see you. Can I just say huge congratulations to you and other big campaigners like Martina Navratilova on the rights of women and girls to, well, fairly compete in sporting events. Yeah. We're kind of going sport by sport by sport, trying to bring some sanity. This isn't a complete win, but tell us what the World Athletics body decided.
Yeah, I mean, it is a win. It's a little bit disturbing that it's taken nearly 8 years to get where we are now, you know, just to state the obvious that biological males are stronger and faster than biological females, which was what the point was always. You know, we didn't need to do any science. We've got every single Olympic result ever in history to know that is the case. And until you could prove that you could remove that advantage, there's no way that they should ever really have opened the female category up to people.
There was this argument, if you're a man who says you are now living as a trans woman, no surgery, no treatment, anything, but as long as you take down your testosterone levels to still what is way, way above what any woman could ever have, you can then be allowed to compete. And we saw again and again and again, haven't we, these trans women, i.e. male athletes, just absolutely trouncing their female competitors.
Yeah, and it was just happening more and more and more. And it was the ridiculousness across different sports, you know, different levels. We had 10 nanomals for Leah Thomas in America. We have 5 nanomals for DSD athletes. We have 2.5 for DSD athletes, none of which makes any difference whatsoever. So if you've actually gone through male puberty, you will not be able to remove that benefit. Yeah. So you're asking female athletes to always compete knowing that they've got a disadvantage before they even start. And as you know, the reason I'm so vocal is because I did 20 years racing East Germans who had exactly the same situation for different reasons, and they absolutely pummeled the rest of the world, and we didn't win anything for a very, very long time, and it was extremely frustrating that the IOC did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, but it has a massive impact. It has a massive impact. You know, these are women who, if they win or if they're on the podium, their career, their income is going to be affected for the rest of their lives. It's a massive big issue. And you're training all your life knowing that actually you haven't got a chance. Some of the pictures we've seen, I mean, I'm always amazed that people are going, well, this doesn't happen. What are you talking about? There was that weightlifter in the Olympics, and the weightlifter didn't win. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, but Leah Thomas won the women's college swimming in America. We've seen numerous cases where the podium is in 1, 2, 3 are huge, big 6-foot-plus men claiming to be women. No treatment, no nothing, just and you know, living their lives just but saying that they are women, and women basically having no chance at all. Explain some of the physical differences, because people will say, well, yeah, but you know, you've got the physical difference. You know, you're obviously, you know, very, very athletic, so that's enabled you to win an Olympic medal. I wouldn't be able to win an Olympic medal. I don't have that athletic ability. So you know, it's already unfair. Some people have more ability, but what is the crucial difference there between men and women?
Okay, so the point is with Laurel Hubbard, yes, she didn't win at the Olympic Games in Tokyo, but she actually took the place for New Zealand. So there was a girl who was left at home who didn't actually get to compete. That is the point. So it doesn't really matter whether there's 1 or there's 100. It means that a female somewhere will not be getting their place that they deserve, and that will change their life because it will go onto their resume and it will help them to get jobs, or it will even, in lots of cases nowadays, you know, with professional sport, give them a salary. So, you know, it's a discrimination based on sex. The difference is between 10 and 30% at Olympic level. So something like middle distance running, it's 10%. Weightlifting, it's 30%. Things like throwing, jumping, long jump, you know, explosive events is about 20%. So the more explosive it is, the more of a benefit it is to have gone through male puberty. An equal weight and height, male-female difference in punching is 160%. So you can imagine it in a contact sport, that is incredibly dangerous. And that is why World Rugby were the first. Aquatics, I was very proud to say, were the second, which was nearly a year ago now, and now athletics as well. So I'm very much hoping that the other sports will follow. However, you know, we've got to worry a little bit about this word elite, because I'm not sure that an elite athlete deserves to have fair sport, but a 12-year-old girl does not deserve fair sport.
Getting into the netball team.
That's my point, yeah.
But also, the key thing, wasn't this was about, you know, anyone who's gone through male puberty. Shouldn't it just be as simple? You are You compete in the sex category in which you were born. End of. Nothing to discuss. What about talk about a trans category? People are saying an open category, open to, you know. But the thing about that is an open category available to men, women, trans men and trans women, intersex, whatever. You know who's going to win that category every time? Men.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole point. You know, that is why we have a women's category. The women's category was brought in there to remove male puberty advantage. Otherwise, men, strong, fit, young men would win everything. In fact, if you look at records, for example, it's a really good way of doing it. 14 to 15-year-old boys in America track records, every single one, bar the marathon, they would beat the women's world record holders. All right, 14 to 15-year-old boys. That's how different it is. It's not because they're better, it's because we have different bodies, and we can only do what we can do with the bodies that we have. I have 1 nanomole of testosterone. I've always had 1 nanomole of testosterone in my system, and I didn't go through male puberty. So reducing it down, you know, years later to 5 to 10 to 2.5 is kind of irrelevant, really.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. Well, look, you've been a magnificent campaigner on this, and at great personal cost in terms of losing some new charity ambassadorships, some work as well, which is outrageous because, I mean, frankly, if a company would like to, you know, provide you with more work or charity, we will massively want to support that. And I know there'll be millions of women who would, and it's outrageous. What you're saying is not controversial to 90% of the population, and you're an absolute hero to many of us standing up on this issue at personal cost. Another person who's also done that on the wider range of issues is Kelly J. Keane. We're going to talk to her a little bit later in the show. She's been carrying out, lots of people say, rather more sort of extremist things, but is it extremist for a woman who says that women's and girls' rights matter to go, you know, print T-shirts saying woman, adult, human, female? She's the one who did that. And to go on a talk and basically go and give public speeches about women's rights. She's been in Australia and New Zealand prompting protests everywhere she goes. Over the weekend she got a can of tomato soup thrown over her. Really very aggressive protesters, very large men, often masked. Police in New Zealand basically said, we can't protect you, we can't guarantee your safety. She's had to leave the country. She will be on the show a little bit later to talk to her. What do you make of the reaction to the protests and the speeches carried out by people like Kelly J. Keane?
It's the hypocrisy of not allowing everyone to have a voice. You know, that's the whole point of us living in a democracy with free speech. And it only seems to go one way at the moment. You know, you mentioned how difficult it's been for me, and I decided to take this stand because I was in a position where I could afford to do it in a way, and I felt very passionately because of the East German situation. But, you know, female athletes are scared witless to speak out. Even coaches and other male athletes that train with these girls and who support them are scared to speak out. How are we living in a world where people are frightened to give an opinion about fair sport? I just find it extraordinary. And I don't agree with everything that Kelly says, obviously, but ultimately I agree with her right to be able to stand there and speak about it. And if what happened to her had happened to a trans activist, you know, she would have been hauled up she would have been in prison within 5 minutes. Yeah. It's a very, very one way. And this is what's wrong with everything. Because if we can have just respectful and honest and open debate based on facts and science, we can sort things out for everybody and find a space for everybody. You know, I agree sport should be for everybody, but it needs to be fair and it needs to be safe, and then it needs to be inclusive. And if that's extra categories or an open category, we can find our way. But if we can't talk about it, we can't do it.
100%. Sharron Davies MBE, Olympic medalist swimmer and heroine, thank you very much indeed for joining us.